It is the 15th of May 2002, Glasgow, Scotland, Hampden Park. The air is cold and the night is wet. The Champions League final is balanced on a knife edge. Real Madrid versus Bayer Leverkusen, 1-1. We are just on the edge of half-time. The game is tense. It is scrappy. It is not beautiful. And then Roberto Carlos runs down the left wing. He is under pressure. He has no time to look up. He just hooks a high looping cross into the air. It is not a good cross. It goes too high. It hangs in the sky for what feels like an eternity. Most players would try to bring this ball down. They would try to control it, shield it, look for a pass. The ball is dropping from the clouds, spinning wildly. The angle is awkward, but Zinedine Zidane does not do what most players do. He stands at the edge of the penalty area. He waits. He watches the ball fall. He rotates his body, planting his right foot into the wet grass. He raises his left leg. It is a movement of pure ballet. For a split second, the stadium goes quiet. There is that brief intake of breath from 50,000 people. He meets the ball on the volley. Full power. The connection is perfect. It is cleaner than clean. The ball rockets off his left boot, flies past the goalkeeper and tears into the top corner of the net. It is perhaps the greatest goal in the history of European football. He runs to the sideline screaming, his face contorted in pure raw joy. For a man who rarely smiles, for a man who carries a heavy silence, this is an explosion. This is the moment the world remembers. Technique, the elegance, the gold boots, the white shirt of Madrid, the feeling that he could do anything. But this perfection, this was not given to him. This is not where the story began. To understand that volley, we have to leave the bright lights of the Champions League. We have to go back to the concrete. We have to go to a place where silence wasn't a choice, but a way of survival. Marseille, in the south of France, is a city of sun, noise, and heat. But on the northern edges, there is a housing estate called La Castellane. It is a place of concrete towers and dusty squares. In the 1970s, it was a place for immigrant families trying to build a new life. It was tough. It was tight. It was a place where you had to grow up fast. This is where Zinedine Zidane was born, the youngest of 5 children. His parents, Esmail and Malika, had come from the Kabylie region of Algeria. They were hard-working, quiet, dignified people. His father worked in a warehouse. His mother kept the home. They taught him respect. They taught him that the family was a fortress. Outside the apartment on the Place Tartane, life was different. It was loud. It was a concrete square that served as the stadium for all the local boys. This is where the legend started. Not on grass. On concrete. If you fell here, you bled. If you held on to the ball too long, you got kicked. The games lasted for hours, until the sun went down and the streetlights flickered on. Young Yazid, as they called him, was not the loudest boy. He was actually very shy. He watched everything. But with the ball at his feet, the shyness vanished. On that hard ground, he learned 2 things that would define his entire career. First, he learned control. On the uneven concrete, the ball moves fast. You have to kill it instantly. You have to caress it. You have to keep it close to your feet, like it is attached to you by a string. Second, he learned how to protect himself. He was a small boy then. To survive the older, bigger boys, he had to use his body. He learned to use his arms to hold them off, to spin away, to turn. The famous Marseille turn, the roulette, was not a trick for the cameras. It was a survival mechanism invented on the Place Tartane. He had something else too, a fire. Underneath the quiet face, there was a temper, a volatility. If he felt an injustice, if he felt insulted, he reacted. The red mist would descend. He was not just an artist, he was a fighter. He played for local clubs, Saint-Henri, Septem-le-Vallon. He wasn't a striker who scored 50 goals a season. He was different. He was the one who made the game flow. He was the one who saw the pass before anyone else. At 14, he was invited to a training camp, and there a man named Jean Verraude was watching. Jean Verraude was a scout for AS Cannes. He saw something in this skinny, moody teenager that no one else saw. He didn't just see a footballer. He saw a genius waiting to be unlocked. Verraude went to the Zidane family. He made a promise. He said, "I will look after him like he is my own son." Esmail and Malika agreed. And so, the boy left the safety of La Castellane. He left the concrete square. He got on a train to Cannes. The journey had begun. Cannes is a world away from the gritty suburbs of Marseille. It is a city of film festivals, yachts, and luxury. For a shy teenager from the projects, it was alien. The first few weeks were lonely. He missed his family. He missed the noise of his brothers. He lived in a dormitory with other young players, but he often felt apart from them. But Jean Varrour kept his promise. He was the first critical figure in Zidane's football life. He protected him. He encouraged him when Zidane got angry on the pitch, and he often did. Varrour would calm him down. He made his professional debut at 16. He was raw. He was skinny, but the touch was there. There is a story from these early days that tells you everything about his motivation. The chairman of Cannes promised him a car, a red Renault Clio, if he scored his first goal. Zidane wasn't obsessed with money, but he wanted to prove he could do it. When he finally scored a beautiful lob, he got the car. It was a symbol that football could be a way out, a way to help his parents. But Cannes was a small club. To become a legend, he needed a bigger stage. In 1992, he moved to Bordeaux. This was the first major step up. At Bordeaux, the pressure increased, but so did the quality of the people around him. Here, he met two people who would shape his future. The first was Christophe Dugarry, a striker who became his best friend. They had a telepathic connection on the pitch. Dugarry made the runs. Zidane played the passes. They were inseparable. The second was a young Vicente Lizarazu. This trio, Zidane, Dugarry, Lizarazu, became the core of a Bordeaux team that did something impossible. In 1996, they fought their way from the Intertoto Cup, the very bottom of European competition, all the way to the UEFA Cup final. They played against the giants of Europe, AC Milan, Bayern Munich, against AC Milan, one of the best teams in the world. Zidane was magical. He didn't just play, he glided. He was 23 years old, but he played with the wisdom of a veteran. The world began to notice. People started whispering his name. Who is this tall midfielder? He moves like a dancer. He is slow, but no one can take the ball from him. But with the attention came the criticism. People said he was inconsistent. They said he drifted in and out of games. They said he didn't score enough goals. And they talked about his temper. He was still getting sent off. He was still reacting to tackles. He was a diamond, but he was rough. He needed polishing. He needed a place that would force him to become harder, stronger, and more consistent. He needed Italy. In 1996, Juventus called. If you know football history, you know that Juventus in the 90s was not a playground. It was a factory of winning. It was the hardest, toughest environment in European football. The manager was Marcello Lippi. He was a man who demanded perfection. He didn't care about tricks. He cared about work rate, tactical discipline, and mental strength. When Zidane arrived in Turin, he was shocked. The training was brutal. The physical preparation was unlike anything he had seen in France. He later said he would vomit after training sessions because he was so exhausted. He struggled at first. The Italian press, which can be cruel, asked if he was a waste of money. They called him too soft. But this was the turning point. This was where the boy from La Castellane became a man. He didn't complain. He worked. He built muscle. He learned to protect the ball against the toughest defenders in the world. Maldini, Cannavaro, Nesta, and then it clicked. He found his rhythm. Wearing the black and white stripes, playing behind Alessandro Del Piero, Zidane evolved. He wasn't just a playmaker anymore. He was a conductor. He won the Serie A title in his first season. He won it again the next year. He reached the Champions League final twice in a row. Although they lost those finals, something had changed in his eyes. The fear was gone. The inconsistency was gone. He was now the best midfielder in the world. He had mastered the silence of the game. When chaos was all around him, Zidane slowed down. He used the sole of his foot to roll the ball, inviting pressure only to spin away at the last second. He made the game move at his speed, but there was one shadow hanging over him. In France, the national team was preparing to host the 1998 World Cup. The country was divided. The team was criticized, and the face of the team was Zidane. The pressure on his shoulders was heavy. Millions of people were looking at him, waiting for him to lead them. He was about to face the biggest test of his life, and it would almost destroy him before it made him immortal. Summer 1998, France. The atmosphere was strange. The French public did not believe in their team. The newspaper L'Équipe was writing harsh editorials. The coach, Aimé Jacquet, was under fire. Jacquet was the third key figure in Zidane's life. He was a quiet, stubborn man. He believed in Zidane completely. He built the entire team around him. He told the others, "Zizou is the light. Give him the ball." But the tournament started in a nightmare. In the second group game against Saudi Arabia, the old demon returned. Frustration, a rush of blood. Zidane stamped on a player. It was ugly. It was unnecessary. The referee showed the red card. As he walked down the tunnel, head bowed, the country turned on him. He was banned for 2 matches. If France lost in the round of 16 or the quarter-finals, it would be his fault. He would be the villain who cost France their own World Cup. He sat in the dressing room silent. The shame burned. But the team, his brothers, fought for him. They won without him against Paraguay. They survived a penalty shootout against Italy. He returned for the semi-final and then the final. July 12, 1998. Stade de France, Paris. France versus Brazil. Brazil were the favourites. They had Ronaldo, the phenomenon. They were the kings of football. France were the underdogs. Before the match, Aimé Jacquet gave a specific instruction to Zidane. He told him that Brazil's defence was weak at set pieces. "Go to the near post," he said. "Trust your head." Zidane was not known for heading the ball. He was a man of the feet. But 27 minutes into the game, a corner comes in. Zidane runs to the near post. He rises above Leonardo. He powers the header into the net. 1-0. The stadium erupts. A release of tension that shook the ground. Just before half-time, another corner. The other side of the pitch. Again, Zidane finds space. Again, the header. Hard, low, through the legs of Roberto Carlos. 2-0. Zidane ran to the corner flag, kissing his shirt. His face was a picture of disbelief and ecstasy. The boy who was banned, the boy who let his temper slip, had just scored 2 goals in a World Cup final. France won 3-0. That night, on the Champs-Élysées, 1 million people chanted his name. Zizou for president was projected onto the Arc de Triomphe. He had united a divided country. The son of Algerian immigrants had become the symbol of France. He was no longer just a player. He was a national monument. After 1998, Zidane entered a realm that very few players ever reach. It was his prime. From 1998 to 2003, he was untouchable. In Euro 2000, he played football that looked like science fiction. Against Portugal in the semi-final, it was not a match, it was an exhibition. He controlled the ball with his chest, his thigh, his heel. He moved through defenders like they were ghosts. He was named player of the tournament. France won again. He was the undisputed king of football. In 2001, it was time for the final move. Real Madrid. The president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, asked him on a napkin at a gala dinner, "Do you want to come to Madrid?" Zidane wrote back in English, "Yes." The transfer fee was a world record, 75 million euros. It was an absurd amount of money at the time. The pressure was immense. He joined the Galacticos. Figo, Raúl, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldo. It was a team of superstars. But even among superstars, Zidane was different. He didn't run the most, he didn't speak the most, but when the ball came to him, the game changed. This brings us back to that night in Glasgow, in 2002. That volley. It was the culmination of his journey. He had won the World Cup. He had won the Euros. Now, finally, he had the Champions League. He played with a freedom in Madrid. He wore the number 5 shirt, a defender's number for the world's greatest attacker. Even that was unique. But time waits for no one. As the years went by, his body began to slow down. The magic was still there, but the legs were heavy. Real Madrid began to struggle. The trophies stopped coming. By 2006, he was tired. He was 34 years old. He announced that the 2006 World Cup would be his final act. He would retire immediately after. Most players fade away. They go to smaller leagues. They sit on the bench. Zidane chose a different path. He chose to burn out in one final blinding flash of light. The 2006 World Cup in Germany. No one expected France to do well. They were an old team. Zidane had actually retired from international duty before, only to come back because he felt he had to help. In the group stages, he looked old. He was slow. The press wrote his obituary. "It is one tournament too many," they said. But then, the knockout stages began, and something miraculous happened. Against Spain in the round of 16, he scored a brilliant goal to seal the win. He told his teammates, "We are not going home yet." Then came the quarter-final against Brazil. If you watch only one match of Zinedine Zidane in your life, watch this one. France versus Brazil, 2006. He was 34. He was playing against Kaká, Ronaldinho, Zé Roberto, players in their prime, and he took them to school. He floated. He did pirouettes in the midfield. He lobbed the ball over Ronaldo's head. He controlled the tempo completely. He provided the assist for the winning goal. It was a masterclass. It was perfection. He dragged France to the final against Italy. The stage was set for the perfect fairy tale ending. The greatest player of his generation, lifting the World Cup in his final match. He even scored a Panenka penalty in a World Cup final against Gianluigi Buffon. The audacity to chip the ball, to let it hit the crossbar and bounce in, it was madness. It was genius. But fairy tales in football are rare. Real life is more complicated. Extra time. The score is 1-1. The legs are heavy. The tension is unbearable. Marco Materazzi, the Italian defender, is marking him. There are words exchanged, shirt pulling, insults. We will never know exactly what it felt like in Zidane's head in that moment. Perhaps the fatigue, perhaps the pressure, perhaps the old temper from La Castellane, the boy who wouldn't let anyone disrespect him. He jogs past Materazzi. He stops. He turns. He lowers his head and drives it into Materazzi's chest. The world stopped. The referee didn't see it, but the fourth official did. The red card was raised. There was no protest. Zidane didn't argue. He knew. He walked off the pitch. He walked past the World Cup trophy, which was sitting on a podium. He didn't look at it. He unstrapped his wrist tape. He walked into the darkness of the tunnel. He never played football again. France lost the penalty shootout. It was a tragedy. But in a strange way, it was a perfectly human ending. He was not a robot. He was a man of intense emotion. The passion that gave us the volley in Glasgow was the same passion that caused the headbutt in Berlin. You couldn't have one without the other. Years have passed since that night in Berlin. Zidane returned, of course. He returned as a manager for Real Madrid, and just like his playing days, he touched the gold. He won 3 Champions League titles in a row, something no manager had ever done. He stood on the sidelines, wearing a suit, hands in his pockets, smiling that quiet smile, still calm, still mysterious. But for us, the fans, the memory is not the manager in the suit, the memory is the player. We remember the way he moved. He was big, 6'1", but he moved like water. He had a relationship with the football that was deeply personal. He taught us that football is not just about running fast or hitting the ball hard. It is about time, he showed us, that you can slow the world down. When everyone else is panicking, you can take a breath, you can turn. You can see the past that no one else sees. He was a flawed hero. He was capable of violence and capable of the greatest beauty. He was a boy from the streets of Marseille who became a king, but never lost the fire of the street. Let's go back to Glasgow. Let's go back to that ball dropping from the sky. Now when you watch it, you don't just see a goal. You see the hours on the concrete at La Castellane. You see the guidance of John Varod. You see the toughness of Juventus. You see the confidence of a world champion. You see a man who played every game with his heart, for better or for worse. In a world of noise, stats and social media, Zinedine Zidane remains a symbol of something purer. He was an artist who didn't need to speak to be understood. He let his feet tell the story. And what a beautiful story it was. The game is over now. The stadium is empty, but the feeling remains. Thank you, Zizou.